Welcome to another video. I am the Starman and I am here in my garden here in Blackpool, and tonight it's a lovely evening, by the way. Just look at this sky here. It's around about 8:30 in the evening on a Sunday evening as I'm speaking to you now, and it happens to be the peak of the Perseid Meteor Shower tonight. Yeah, I did do a video on it before this one. If you want to check it out, have a look at that video. But the peak is actually tonight. The peak is actually in between 2 days actually, so if I don't get them tonight, there's also another chance tomorrow night. The shower is active for a couple of weeks in August, so it's still active for a week or so after the peak. So there's still a good chance to see some meteors if you look up shooting stars, all that sort of thing. But the actual peak is tonight as I'm filming this video, Sunday evening into the morning of Monday. If you want to look at my video, you can find out. But anyway, what I want to do in this video is, or what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be heading away from Blackpool. I'm going to be heading up north, getting away from all the light pollution of Blackpool, because you know Blackpool's like Blackpool illuminations. It's all going off here. And if we want to have a chance to see these shooting stars or meteors, we need to go somewhere that's a little bit darker. You know, try and get away from lights if you can, any kind of light sources that you can. Street lights, you don't want any street lights in the way, any distractions like that. If you can go somewhere nice and dark, get out to the country, maybe even go in a local park or something like that. If you can't get anywhere further out than that, just go to your local park and try to get away from street lights. It'll give you a chance to see the stars. Even if you're not meteor hunting, just to stargaze, you can see more stars when you're somewhere a lot darker, when you're away from all the light pollution of a town. But anyway, we've got a star party going on tonight. I'm going to be heading up to the little village of Pilling, which is on the south side of Morecambe Bay, and I'm going to be meeting up there with some friends from my astronomy society. It's our viewing site, our official viewing site for our astronomy society when we have star parties. So we've got a star party on tonight, especially for the Perseid Meteor Shower, and I'm going to take you there with me. We're going to head up there, we're going to get on the road, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the drive up there, because it's a little way out, you know. Yeah, but it's not the darkest of sights either, but it is certainly a lot darker than where I am now, because I am surrounded by street lights here in Blackpool. So we're going to head up there now, and hopefully over the next few hours when I get up there, probably get up there around about 9:30 to 10 o'clock, and we're going to spend a few hours up there into the early hours of the morning, and hopefully we'll see a few shooting stars. But before I do that, I want to show you, I've got a camera down here. I don't know if you can see that. I've got my camera there. So what I want to do is I want to give you some idea about how you can actually get pictures of these shooting stars. So let's have a little look at my camera, and I'll show you how you can set a camera up to capture meteors. Right, okay, so this is my camera here, and this is a Nikon D850. Sorry about the noisy seagulls. And I've got a lens on there. That's a 50mm lens. It's not the ideal lens for capturing meteors, because it's quite a wide lens. It's quite a narrow field of view on that lens there, but that's the only lens I've got at the moment. I lent my 20mm lens out to someone. I haven't got it back yet, but anyway, I want to show you some settings. Right, so we've got the camera here. It's a DSLR camera, this. Quite popular, these. So it's turned on, as you can see, we've got it turned on. Turn it on there, yeah. Now the mode it's in is manual, because I tend to always have it in set to manual, which means you can set the shutter speed. You see this is the shutter speed here. It's quite fast there, 1/200th, 1/250th. Tell you what, those seagulls are so noisy, aren't they? What we want to do is we want to dial that shutter speed down to something like 10 seconds, and you'll notice when it goes down to seconds, you have these two little thingy bits here, two little like little apostrophe things, aren't they, there? So that's set now to 10 seconds, which is quite a long exposure. And what we want to do now is, you see this number here that says f8. What we want to do is we want to get that down as low as oh, hang on, sorry, I pressed the wrong button then. So we need to get that down as low as it'll go, that number. This is the aperture, this is the opening of the lens. Now this lens is quite fast, it goes down to f1.8, which is actually really, really wide, and that's quite important. If you've got a lens that goes down to that number there, f1.8, or even if it goes down to f2.8, you're doing all right. But if your lens only goes down to say f3.5 or maybe f4, then what you're going to have to do, I'll tell you a bit later on, you're going to have to raise the sensitivity. But this one goes all the way down to f1.8, so I'll leave that there. Now what we want to do is to set the drive mode. We'll set that to continuous. So I've set that to continuous. There's continuous low and continuous high. Continuous low will do for this. And then what we need to do is we need to focus manually. I would say focus manually. So can you see there how we've got that infinity mark? So what you do with your lens, you take off autofocus, you turn it off, the autofocus. There should be a switch somewhere. And what you do is you put that infinity mark over there. Can you see that now? Now that lens is now set to infinity. So the camera is all set up to take long exposures at night. The only thing we need to do now is the ISO. Now ISO is the sensitivity of the camera. So at the moment it's set to 100, which is very low. So I would say that with this lens and combination, what we want to do is put up to 1600. And I can now take a 10-second exposure at f1.8, ISO 1600. Yeah. And what that will do, because that lens is very, very fast, it means I can get away with using ISO 1600. Now, if you, like I say, if your lens, say your lens only goes down to something like f3.5, what you do is you simply put the ISO up. So what you would do is you would use ISO 3200. You might even want to whack your ISO all the way up to 6400, but I can get away with ISO 1600 with this particular lens because it's a fast lens. So that's what you do. So now all we need to do now, so that's all set up, but how do we take the pictures? Well, what you can do is you can just keep taking pictures by holding your finger on there, but that's no good, is it? What you want to do is you want to plug a cable into your camera, and what you want to do, you see how I've locked the drive mode onto continuous there? If you put a cable into there with a button on it and you hold that button, you lock the button down, the camera will keep firing away. It'll keep taking 10-second exposures, and it'll keep doing that until the memory card fills up or until the battery runs out. So that's the way that you get the camera set up to take pictures of the stars, to try to capture meteors. Those are the settings. It's only a rough guide, by the way. I mean, you might use slightly different settings for different lenses, but this is the setting that I would use for this lens. It's right there, 10 seconds, f1.8, ISO 1600. The focus is locked to infinity. The drive mode is set to continuous. We have a cable going into there with a button on it that you can lock. Very simple, cheap device. You can get them for about £5 to £10 or something like that from Amazon. It's a very rough and ready approach. There's other settings you can use as well, but that's all you need to do to get going to try to capture these meteors, because they do move very fast through the sky. And the reason why it's probably better to have a fast lens like I've got here, because that way the lens has got more chance of gathering the light. So as the meteor zips across the sky, it's got more chance of registering on the camera. Whereas if you're using a slow lens, you have to whack up the sensitivity of the camera so that it compensates for not having that light gathering of the fast lens. So that's a very rough guide to setting the camera up. Sorry if it looked a bit different, the video. I was using my phone to do that. It's a bit easier to use my phone to describe the camera. But anyway, that's a very rough guide. Setting the camera up. I am now going to get in the Starbus. And like I said, I'm not very well set up for this tonight. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to be trying to take pictures of the meteors. I'm going to be taking, I've got like a nice sort of chair to take with me, a reclining chair, deck chair type thing to take with me, and I'm going to be watching the meteors, but I can't take pictures of them, unfortunately, because I don't have one of those I don't even have one of them. Can you believe it? I do not have a cable release. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use video, and I'm going to whack up the ISO. I'm going to use my fastest lens I've got, and I'm going to just video a part of the sky, any part of the sky. It doesn't matter where you look for these meteors, they can appear anywhere. But remember, they do come, Perseid meteors do come from the radiant of Perseus, which is somewhere towards the sort of northeast early on, but it does change as time goes on, as the night goes on. So that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna just see if I can capture them on video. That's all I can do, really. So I'm gonna head up there now. It'll probably take about half an hour. It's a bit of a drive up there, so let's get on the road and head up to Pilling, and we're going to a star party. Okay, that was a half-hour drive, and as you can see it's getting quite dark now, and it is quite a drive actually, but this is what you have to do, I suppose, if you want to get somewhere quite dark, and it is quite nice and dark up here. Not the darkest site by any means, but it's certainly a lot darker than being in Blackpool. So this place is called Pilling, and I'm about to turn right into this, it's like a sort of nature reserve place, and there's a height barrier here. I hope my van goes underneath it. I think it will do, I think it will. I used to have a van years ago that was too high to go underneath that barrier, and I used to have to park it outside, and then I had to walk up here in the dark. I mean, if I turn my lights off now, look at that, look how dark it is. I mean, it's still twilight yet, you know. The sun went down about 45 minutes ago and it's pitch black already. But anyway, I'm going to drive up here now. We're proper out in the sticks here, I'm telling you. Yeah, and wait till you see what we can see up here. Hopefully it won't be too dark. I'll show you the view that we can see. So I'm just going to drive up here. It's quite a big area, this, actually. There's a big car park just down there. I've just drove past that. But I'm driving up to this smaller car park up here because there's a much better view from this car park up here. Now, you should see some people. Oh, look, there's people here, look. Oh. Well, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. There are people here. Look at that there, look. I've got my friends here. There you go. So let's go out and have a look, shall we? Right, okay, I've just parked up the Starbus here, and this is where we are. Look at that. There, that's Morecambe Bay, that. All the way over there. We're looking right into the sort of Lake District over that. Straight ahead is the Lake District, yeah, and just over that way there is Barrow-in-Furness, yes. So this is a really, really good place. It's right on the tip of what do you call it? Where Blackpool is. It's a peninsula, isn't it? The Fylde, I suppose you call it. So I'll just turn the camera around and I'll show you. So that's where the sun went down over there. It kind of went down towards Barrow-in-Furness, and as I bring the camera around, you might be able to see some lights over there. Can you see? That's Heysham Power Station. It's very, very bright. In fact, it's a bit of a pain actually, because those lights over there, they really light up the sky. Yeah, a lot of light pollution comes from there. It's a nuclear power station. So there's a few more lights over here. We're looking sort of towards Lancaster over that way. Yeah, I've got the Starbus parked up here. And as you can see, we've got quite a nice bit of sky to look at. If I look up here, you can actually see a star over there. Yeah, I think that's Altair. And if I look overhead, there's another star up there. I think that's Vega, straight overhead. So we've got quite a nice bit of sky to look at. But looking over this way is towards the north. Now the radiant of the Perseids Meteor, the radiant of Perseids is somewhere over here towards the northeast. So it'll be somewhere up here, this part of the sky up here. That's the radiant, that's where the meteors come from. So we can see them anywhere in the sky, but if you see them more towards this way, more towards the south, you'll have longer trails. Right, so I'll just set my camera up now. It's still a little bit early yet. As you can see, there's plenty of twilight in the sky yet. We're probably a good hour away from probably seeing anything just yet. So I'm just going to have a little play with my cameras. Might have a little drink. I've got a drink with me, and then hopefully maybe about 11 o'clock or so, because at the moment it's around about 9:45. So from about 11 o'clock we might actually start to get some stargazing in and possibly see some meteors. Beam me up, Scotty. Check it out. I've got my red light head torch on. Very important for stargazing and taking pictures at night is a red torch, because the red light stops you from losing your night vision. Now of course I am using a portrait light on me, so it's not dark yet, so it doesn't really matter, but I've been here about half an hour now and there's a few more people turned up. There's quite a group of us here now, and what I thought I'd do is I'll just turn the camera around. So the car there, That's a star bus. There's someone else's car here. Another member's car. Someone's turned up in a van. We've got someone else. So there's quite a few of us here now. And as you can see over there, if you look over there, it is getting darker. And we are starting to see quite a few stars. I don't know if they're picking up on the video now, but we are starting to see stars. Okay, now one of our members, Bob, has already seen a Perseid meteor, even though it's not even properly dark yet. And it's only, what, 10:15 or something like that? So he's already seen one, yeah. So it's not looking, I haven't seen one yet, but I've not really been looking. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to set my camera up and I'll try and take a picture of the scene here and see if I can show you something like what it's like. I'm just going to set my camera, just going to go up here. I want to get a little bit of height if I can. And I'll just go to the top of this bit of a hill here. I'll set my camera up and I'll put it on a long exposure. And I'll point it back towards where everybody is, which is over there. And I'll see what comes out. Okay, so I've just taken a picture of the car park where we are, and you can see, I'll just put it on the screen now. It's quite a nice picture actually, and you can see in the sky there's loads and loads of twilight. The sky is very, very blue. It doesn't look that blue to the eye, but the photograph has made it look very, very bright. I used ISO 1000, 15-second exposure, f3.5, and then it was a 20mm lens to get that on a Panasonic. And it's quite a nice picture actually. It just gives you an idea of where we are. That's looking towards the west. Now if you look above the star bus, there's a very, very bright star in the sky there. That star is called Arcturus, and that's part of the constellation of Boots. So that's the scene, that's where we are. Obviously it's not dark enough yet to see meteors properly, although one of our members has already seen one, so there's plenty of time. It's going to get darker. There's a few clouds around. Hopefully it won't cloud over, because we don't want that, do we? So I'll try and take another picture now where I can see the plough. Now the plough was a little bit off camera, so I'll take another picture now and see if we can get the ploughing, because that's slightly above to the right hand side. Let's see if we can see the plough, shall we? Okay, so there's another picture. I just moved the camera around a little bit and moved it up, and you can now see the plough is there towards the top of the screen there. That's the plough, so we can see all the stars of the plough quite nicely. And all I need to do now is just kind of wait until it gets a little bit darker, and I'll come back to you and I'll let you know if we see anything. And I'm going to set my camera up to do video. And now the problem with video is that it's not that sensitive, so if I do set the camera up to do video, I'm going to have to make sure that I whack up the ISO, the sensitivity on the camera as much as I can, to see if it'll pick up any of the fireballs. It won't pick up these blink and you'll miss it jobs, it won't pick up any of those, but you never know, we might just get a nice fireball. And if it's bright enough, anything will pick it up. A dash cam would pick it up, you know. Dash cams pick up lots of meteors, don't they? So we'll try that then, shall we? Anyway, I'll come back to you a bit later on. Okay, good news. I've seen my first meteor. In fact, I've seen two. Yeah, we're just coming up to 11 o'clock. It's about 5 to 11. So there's still plenty of time. The night is still young. All of the others have seen a few meteors as well. So there's been quite a few meteors spotted already. I saw an absolute cracker. It went through the W of Cassiopeia. It was amazing. And it was a Perseid, because I could trace it back to the radiant, which was not far away in Perseus. So that was a nice bright meteor, that. So the night is still young. I've already seen two. I haven't managed to capture it on video, because obviously you never point in the right way, but you never know. I might catch one on video, yeah. I'm actually taking a video looking towards the west, looking towards the plough. So if any bright fireball heads over that way, I might catch it that way. So anyway, I'll leave it there for now, and I'll come back to you later and let you know how we're getting on. Okay, I've just come back on the star bus, and you've just been watching some time-lapse video of the stars and where we are, and you might have even seen some meteors in there. I don't know. We've seen quite a few. I've seen 6, which is not bad. I've seen 6. Now, unfortunately, it has rather clouded up quite a bit on one part of the sky towards the west, but we can still see quite a bit towards the east, and that's where I've been seeing all the meteors so far. So I've seen 6 so far. So we're just coming up towards midnight now, so we're not doing too bad, but this cloud is a little bit starting to take over a little bit, so we're just going to have to see how it goes and whether it will move over. We don't know. This is the thing about when you're out stargazing. Sometimes you just, you have, it was forecast for cloud. It did say that there might be some cloud, but I mean, sometimes it can say it's going to be nice and clear, but you can still get cloud. It just appears. Yeah, it just magically appears. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. I've seen 6 so far, so it's not been a total waste, and you never know. You know, if you've seen any on that time-lapse video, because I don't know if I've caught any on video, but I've definitely seen 6. So it's going all right so far, not too bad. So we'll just see how this cloud goes, and I'll get back to you in a little bit. Well, we've got manoeuvres now going on here. Everybody's leaving. I'm afraid the clouds... Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll just turn this light off. It's really quite bright, really, isn't it, that? But yeah, I'm afraid that we've just come up to midnight now. In fact, we're just past midnight, and I'm afraid the cloud has taken over. It came over from the south, and it just completely took over the whole sky. Pretty much. I mean, we can still see quite a bit towards this direction over here, towards the sort of north and towards the east, but unfortunately there really isn't a whole lot of sky to look at now, so we're shutting up shop and we're heading back home now. But I've not done too bad. I've spotted 6. There were some people over here that were lying on the ground and looking straight up, and they were cheering all the time. They were seeing loads of them, so they did pretty well. So really, I don't think I've done too bad, really. At least I've seen some, because you have some years where you don't see any. I don't think I saw any last year at all because the weather wasn't that great. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to leave it there now. I might put some pretty pictures on at the end for you to have a look at. Anyway, I hope you like the video. If you do, hit the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe. And most importantly, don't forget to keep looking up.